welcome back to another episode of Public Opinion with your hosts, Pam and Vanetta. This is our last episode of season 3, and we are so excited to come to the end of this season. And we're going to just be reflecting back on some of the episodes that we have had and the guests and the participants. And, but first, we just want to talk a little bit about what's going on right now. And so what's in the news right now is Bill Cosby.
Released on June 30th.
Okay, on June 30th, and a lot of people are calling it technicality when it's really a legal procedural type of an issue, because this prosecutor that actually prosecuted Bill Cosby should never have done it. He should have honored the agreement that the prior prosecutor had. And so there was an agreement, there was a civil action. And so the first prosecutor wanted Bill Cosby to testify as part of like a settlement almost type of
for
thing.
The first lady who had the lawsuit against him. But this was the civil part of it, right?
It was the civil part. He actually paid out money.
Yeah.
But one of the agreements was that he wouldn't use anything that he said against him to prosecute him criminally. And so Bill Cosby is whatever, he relied upon that to his detriment. And so then when the second prosecutor came along, and of course we were in the season of Me Too and all of that kind of stuff.
10 years later.
Yeah. And so he was like, no, we're going to go on ahead and prosecute him, and we're going to use that testimony that he gave in that deposition against him. And so I remember mostly everybody was talking more so about what he said in the deposition, but not any agreement
how it was obtained. Right.
About how it was obtained. So in that respect, I have to say that I can't disagree with him being released. I'm not going to make any judgment about whether he was guilty or innocent or whatever, because maybe other evidence may not have come out of what, I don't know. But
it's difficult to swallow.
It's
in the era of Me Too, especially if the things were said, they were true, because they said he self-incriminated and said he did give women Quaaludes on occasion.
Yeah.
That's a disrespect. But there is a different playbook for the rich and famous.
Yeah, it is.
Because nobody would have even continued on this line to find out to say, okay, this was a technicality. They said he didn't even know he was getting out of jail that day. He was in the bed.
Well, that was quite the surprise for him.
Spun the doors open and said, you can leave.
And said goodbye.
But that tricked me out too. Yeah. And the wife never visited him the whole 3 years.
Wow.
But she didn't. Did they divorce? I don't really know that.
I have no idea, but I don't even know. I can't speak on that. Maybe she's just feel like, I'm gonna stay with my man, is the vows that I made. I don't know. But time will tell. They said they may still do some civil action again. I don't know. I don't know what is going to take place. I did think
he would die in jail.
Yeah. Well, anyway, but yeah, that's what is in the news now, and that's what's hot in the news now. But yeah, I'm looking forward though to next season. But this summer, what we are going to do is still have those tea times. And I want us to do some on location tea times. So we may go to some restaurants, and we may eat the food and say, oh, this is good, this isn't good.
Our world travels to Vegas.
Yes, and we're going to go to some wineries.
Oh, I like that.
And have wine tastings.
Oh, that's really a good idea.
So I am looking forward to our summer tea times.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed this past season. I think we had a lot of really good topics. We had a lot of really good participants. We had diversity and inclusion.
A person who feels appreciated will always do more than what's expected. And I think if you absolutely live by that as an organization, you're always going to be able to put yourself in position to overperform and get the best and most out of your people. And so my organization that I'm with now is called Future Self Network. I'm one of the partners, vice president of the company.
They look around at your customer base and it doesn't represent everybody in the community, then those are customers that you're missing. But once you bring those customers into your organization, you have to know how to manage them.
I was the highest ranking Black in field sales in the company. And people would say, oh, that's great. And I would say, not really. There should be people above me. There should be roadmaps for me to follow. There should be other people that, that's going to fill in after me.
Yes. And what do you think about that show? I really enjoyed that too.
I enjoyed that show. And I liked it was nice to see it from the perspective of those who are involved in it in the workplace.
Yeah.
Because what we diversity inclusion seems to be a catchphrase.
Mhm.
So they really gave us an insight as to
Yeah,
what it
yeah.
is in action.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I got some really crazy comments though on our Facebook
Really?
page. Yeah, I had people who just were, they came out of this from like this vicious perspective. I had one lady say, you know, I don't have to have black friends. If I don't want to have black friends, I don't have to have black friends. And then I'm like, that's not even what the show was about. It's about diversity and inclusion in the workplace.
She don't have to have like this. You don't.
Yeah, she don't have to. I don't think she have any friends. to
Okay,
tell
you
the truth.
don't have to have any. And if anybody knows that you said that, don't worry about it.
And then we address Autism Awareness
And
Month.
that was excellent. You know, that was my pet.
It goes back to an educational understanding that every child that needs support isn't just behavioral because, you know, they want to be. Kids do well when they can. And that's my philosophy on that.
I met a woman this week and her son was diagnosed with, I think last month, at the age of 3. And she was like, where do I go? What do I need to do? And Milestones is definitely an organization that kind of puts people in the right direction, points them in the right direction.
There's no guide to what was next. You know, they told me to contact early intervention. Early intervention, I would definitely say, was a huge benefit. They let me know about all these other services that were available. But the problem with that is there's no funding.
Yeah.
I thought we did a very good job. And I thought we also made a big point of saying there's an underserved community within a community.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I love that. And I'm hoping that we'll have opportunity to address that again in
Mm-hmm.
the month,
Yes.
because there's so much that can be said on that topic.
Oh yeah, and I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I told you I think that I have been on the spectrum. I'm on the spectrum. a
As I
little bit.
said,
don't-
everybody is
Yeah.
somewhere on the spectrum.
Right.
It's just how advanced you are in it.
Yeah.
But it was a good topic, and I think that as people become more aware, then we can really make a difference with bringing out things like this.
Yes, and especially in our minority communities, you know, they really need to understand all of the available tools that, you know, at their disposal and things.
And
of
then
that
we have a
nature
big
as well.
issue in minority communities in the fact that the other generation, the grandparents and all, they don't accept it. They
Mhm.
believe that this is behavior
Yeah.
that can be
Right.
disciplined out of a
Yes,
child.
and so I hope that we have educated people, because I know I got educated myself. And
Mhm.
then we had a couple of millennial editions, but the one
Yeah.
millennial edition we did was about adult kids that go back home and live
Still
in
at home.
and live at
Yeah.
home and what they think. And
That was-
your son was on it.
I pay rent in other ways to my parents
Oh.
with my physical labor around the home. I provide a lot of different things. I supply a lot of emotional support, and I also
And comedy, obviously.
I'm here as long as I need to be until I don't have to be anymore. And I'm super grateful that I have the space to like crash and live in, and that I had my own apartment. But I plan on like moving as soon as possible.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's the thing. You know what, like you said, you are offering a service in exchange for it. And that's the thing. It's all about being grateful.
No, I think everything comes down to the individual and what they see for themselves long term and what they know they're capable of.
Yes, he was.
He gave an interesting
Ridiculous.
comment. I would know about how he contributes emotionally.
So, and
He gives emotional
4
support.
cases of water. And I
And-
want to let you know he hadn't even got those cases in this month yet. But good news, he's moving out in September.
Yeah, so
Yay.
yay. That is awesome. Good news there.
And I'm gonna send him 4 cases of water and see how much of a difference it
Okay.
makes.
And then we had the Mother's Day edition.
Oh.
We had both of our mothers on. That was wonderful.
Any woman can birth a child, but everyone cannot be a mother. They don't, it's not anything that you're taught, you know, it just comes to you. So if you don't have it, now I used to, when I was younger, believe that, oh, that's horrible to give away your children or institutionalize them or whatever. But if you are not going to be a good mother and a good person to them, you're doing them a favor to do that. Now that is
True.
my
Stay strong, rely on God to help you, and use your good judgment. And that's about all any mother can do these days. Use good judgment,
mhm.
rely on God to help you.
Was really, really nice.
It's really,
It's just hard.
we're very blessed to still have our mothers. My mother is 81, your mother's how old?
76.
Is 76.
And for the most part in their right minds.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we are really blessed.
Really blessed. And this past weekend, she was very blessed, as well as you, to be able to see your oldest son get married. And that was exciting. I'm going to tell you.
That was the milestone. That was bigger than my own wedding.
That was one of the best times that I have had. I'm going to tell you.
I can say that I saw you enjoying it. I can say it, and I will say for anybody getting married, make a weekend of it.
Yeah.
I mean, because that was so, we started Friday night and we didn't stop till Sunday afternoon.
Right. And along those same lines, we had an episode about the grooming. Girl, and then we were like, why should it just be girl? You know, why should it just be the woman that gets honored, or everything centered around the woman? You still can have something. And also, I have never really seen too many gatherings with our people where we come together as a village and offer advice, because that's what we really need nowadays, is to give good advice and good wisdom to our young people before they get married. And we did a whole thing, and we're actually going to start a company where
LLC.
Where you surround the groom to be, with a village of people who offer their support. They answer questions in regard to what they believe is important to sustaining a healthy marriage. And then there's also a celebration.
Right.
And during that time, the embers of wisdom is when we give our,
And what we
wisdom
also
to the
did
groom.
says, you have a role to play in this, because we put so much on the ceremony, but we wanted to bring the male perspective and his family side in. Because you can be just the folks in gray, and we really did not want that. I think that this gave us a chance to say, we're here, we're important, and we love you, and this is a community behind
It's a community, and it's just important to know what's important in having a good relationship and having a good marriage. And I think that's important. It's much more important than having strippers and and just having a cake.
I don't know if everybody would agree with you on that. Yes, Safria's probably was hoping, wait for the strippers to come out.
They were like, no, when are the strippers coming? Are they in the
never
fire
seen
pit?
strippers in the daytime, but it's gonna be nice.
It was good. And then we also talked about mental health.
When it comes to the stigma, that is that piece of it, is that society as a whole refuses to have this conversation. We can sit here and say, I have a headache, but we can't sit here and say, I'm depressed. We can sit and say, my stomach hurts. We can't say I'm anxious, because mental health and focusing on issues with our emotional wellness is looked at as some level of weakness over which you have total control.
As serious mental health issues often have accompanied physical health issues like diabetes, high blood pressure. You can have a stroke just because you're so stressed out.
Individuals who are in poor physical health, experimentally and longitudinally, we see that they actually develop more mental health conditions, and vice versa. People with mental health conditions are at risk for developing more serious physical health conditions.
And how important mental health is just as important as maintaining your physical health.
Right, and equally, because I tell you that one supports the other.
Yes.
If you're physically feeling bad, it affects your mental outlook. And if your mental outlook goes away, you may harm yourself in some way with it. And with depression, you start to feel tired.
Yeah, it affects your physical being. Yeah, you have to maintain. And I think people don't think enough about their mental health. It's so important.
I think people thought more about their mental health in 2020 than ever before.
Yes. Yeah.
And my own self, I took more inventory.
Because you just had more time.
Yeah.
And you had more time to reflect on what's really important.
You're sitting here like, I am crazy. I thought I was crazy. I am crazy. Yeah.
And then we also talked about single, so what?
I've been single my entire life. And it's never been a source of depression. It's never been a source of, oh, woe is me, why haven't I been chosen? And that's really a big part of our society, of women always feeling they need to be chosen in order to
part of being single or being content is when people are constantly asking you. Like my aunt used to ask me all the time, and I just noticed recently that she has stopped because I had told her I was tired and I don't want to do that. I'm good the way
Which is really the premise of I'm Single, So What, is understanding contentment from a biblical perspective, and how Paul talks about, I have learned, and no matter what state I am, therewith to be content. And so when this season of singleness, it's really understanding what it means to be content based on my relationship with Christ.
Okay. And they told us a bunch of stuff there. Okay.
And I'm glad we did that, because there are so many women who in their singleness may feel like something's wrong with them.
Right.
Like, you know, and being so focused on that they don't really take time to just enjoy the life that they have.
And then we have a lot of misconceptions too, because as I said in that show, I believe, based on a movie that I saw, I had an obligation to introduce my single friend. And my one single friend, who I thought also saw that movie, said, don't introduce her to anybody. She didn't want anybody talking to her father sitting out there. And if he wasn't good enough for me, don't introduce him to her. Now, I don't think I would ever introduce anybody who I didn't think was good enough for me. But I can see me saying, oh, they're perfect for her. And that may not be really who I would have thought would have been perfect for me.
Right. Yeah.
So I can see that little bit, but I still do believe, even though she said that, if I found some great guy, I should bring him to her attention.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Or if you know somebody, don't force it. Just kind of set it up so maybe it'll happen naturally. You know, maybe invite somebody over. But you know, other than that, it's not even so much about that. It's about, let us just live and be happy, because you are making us more nervous by thinking that something's wrong, or thinking that we have to be paired up with somebody.
And we don't.
And we don't.
And my uncle always told me, you can do bad all by yourself.
All by yourself. And then June was Gay Pride Month.
I never came out to my mother, but my mother was very intelligent, so she knew. I never came out to my family because my family is relatively intelligent, and they knew. So me running out and saying, look, I'm gay, was not a big deal. And if anybody asked me, they would get an answer. So when I was growing up, it really wasn't a major deal.
Something else was going on with me around 7th grade. That's when I really sort of identified that I may have interests that were not aligned with the culture. And so I've known for a very, very long time. I don't know that that I had necessarily put a moniker on it at that time, but I knew. I was a sensitive child, so I recall as a kid, and this would be the negative, I recall as a kid being called punk.
I have transcended beyond the binary of using pronouns, and just call me Kyle Kid. And hey, if we're somewhere and you slip up and say she, her, I've been places with my mother and they're like, hey ladies, and my mother will look at me like, oh my God. And I'm like, it doesn't hold weight. It doesn't hold weight. It doesn't hold weight at all. It doesn't matter. So, and now she's like, oh, okay, yes, pronouns, da, da, da. So I think it's me trying to push the bounds and erase the barriers of us living in this binary space, which the binary just creates limits.
I really don't care how straight people perceive or receive me. It is not my business how they're feeling about me, because I live my life, you know? I live my life like they're living. We all have the same, I guess I have different aspirations, you know, but we all want to do stuff with our lives. So for you to be concerned with my sexuality and what I do when I'm by myself, then you have a problem within yourself.
We need a flag.
Yes.
You should have a flag.
For Gay Pride Month, we actually had 2 shows where we had older gay adults, and then we had the millennial edition that had the younger gay people. And just talking about really what we got out of it was just that you don't have to agree with their lifestyle, but you have to just treat people as human beings.
But what I also got out of it from the millennial and not the Gen Zs or whatever, that there's a different attitude about being gay. I mean, they're unapologetically gay. They're
Yes,
strong.
yes.
They're out here and they're saying, they're going to tell you about all these different letters, you know, because that other generation, they were gay.
Yeah.
But these polyamorous,
Yeah.
you know, lesbian, like queer in my time was just a nasty thing to say to somebody.
Yes, and they've embraced and turned it over. They flipped it and made it like, you know, hey, this is something that we are, accept us. And it might be because of like some of the laws, and now, you know, marriage is legal, and a long time ago, you know, with it not being, people were a little bit more reserved and underground with it. And I think that may have added to this free spirit nature of like what you're
I
saying.
agree. I mean, they just seem to have a more comfort or happiness about them, which I always found gay men to be that way. Gay women towards me never were as just overall happy.
Well, I don't know. I can't really say one way or the other. I think I just know more gay men. I don't know as many gay women. And then we had our Father's Day show.
Yeah.
So I went to the Bible and asked the Lord to direct me and raise my kids on the way they should go. In terms of discipline, in terms of listening to them, their mental capacity, their spirituality. I think that's a great gift from God.
When the doctor first put my son Dalton in my arms, I knew at that moment that my life had changed. And I just felt a overwhelming sense of responsibility.
Is that you got to be a role model for your children. You got to be they should not have to look outside the home for a positive role model.
Whether you're a biological father, a stepfather, foster father, adoptive father, or emotional father, the key word is father.
Provide and protect. You have to have those three key elements.
Understand them at all times and always listen to what they have to say.
That may be my favorite.
Really? I
love the interviews at the end.
So many people who said that they liked that. We had not only our husbands, but we also had 5 other men who submitted tapes and talked about the importance of being a father, what they liked about being a father, and you know, gave advice to new fathers on what they should do. And I thought that was very good.
I think it's, and I also think it confirms that there are still phenomenal fathers out here. I mean, because you highlight in this world all the cases of single parents, but there are men out here raising their children too.
They're raising
Maybe
them and
that's
doing a
another
very
show.
good. Yes.
Okay.
You know what? That would be a good show for season 4.
Yeah.
It really would.
I like that idea because a man in your home is important. And I used to think foolishly that a man was more important in a home with boys, but he's just as important for a girl.
Oh yeah, it's just as important.
But I think I thought that with my own bias because my father was missing after the age 12. So I had to believe that to be a whole. You do, you know? So, and maybe we should do something about divorce and children of divorce.
Yeah, there's a lot of topics that we still need to address. And so I'm looking forward to season 4. If you all have any topics that you want us to address, please put it in the comments. Make sure that you subscribe, like and subscribe to our show. Additionally, please join our Facebook page. It's Public Opinion Show on Facebook. We're on Instagram. So we're all over the place.
We're everywhere.
We are
meetings.
really going to take off.
Okay.
We are taking off.
Yeah. And we're going to have some great show topics. Now listen to this is one of mine that Pam don't know about. I want to call it leveling up, the next wife. When you when you get that next wife and she all that, they call her a trophy wife, but maybe it's not that. Maybe she's everything you ever dreamed of. Or maybe he's everything you ever dreamed of. So it's going to be called leveling up.
Okay.
The second one.
Yes, but we want you all to make sure that you tune in for our Public Opinion Tea Times. And as always, if you like this show, please like and subscribe, tell other people about it. And until the fall, I think we're going to start at the beginning of September.
Yes, right.
So until next season, we will see you later. And we will also see you for tea time during the summer. But just always remember that everybody is entitled to their own opinion. Bye-bye.